Okay, here we go. Hi. I'm sorry, I'm trying to figure out the system. Can y'all hear me okay? Mic is on. Okay, good. How y'all doing? Hey, twin. Hey, Kay. I was like, I'm trying out this StreamYard system that everybody's been using. So I'm trying to figure this stuff out. I like it because the comments pop up on the screen. So it makes it a little bit easier when they're right in front of you. So if I make some mistakes, don't hold me this go round. I'm kind of learning. I'm okay. Busy per usual. I'm sure April has been crazy for everybody. It's been a crazy month for me. Garden is definitely getting the best of me. Okay, twin. Whew. I was like, let me get my questions up too. Can I not see the chat with it on full screen? Show chat. Okay. Yeah, I don't know if that's me or if it's the actual like thing. I would prefer to have this on full screen, but I can't see the chat that way. So I don't know. I spent a good amount of my time in technology. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's the the streaming service. How y'all doing today? How is everybody feeling at the start of May? How are the gardens going? I'm pulling up my questions too. I think I would have been prepared. Trying to do a whole lot of self care today too. I messed up my eyebrow. I don't know if y'all can see. I messed up my eyebrow trying to do my eyebrows before I got on here, so I wouldn't be looking like Scarecrow. Is the audio loud enough? I wish it was 86 here. Not so much because I just want the heat, but more so because that means things would actually be growing that need that heat to grow. 96 humidity. I feel your pain. I was like, people don't understand. Like, and I get it because I grew up in the north. Like, it's cold up there, but our summers were brutal. And I mean, it would be like 98 degrees with 98% humidity, and that was terrible. I still feel like it's it's the same here as far as like the summer weather goes. It's just it can really be unbearable at times. How do y'all feel about like I don't know. I feel like YouTube is strange, right? So you start a channel based on something and it's like you try to kind of incorporate, different elements of things that may go along with it. Um maybe just things that you want to share. And I kind of feel like when you go, I guess, off track per se, people tend to gravitate away because it's not the original content that they subscribed for. So I don't know. I was just thinking like with the Q&A, I thought it would be a good way. And I thought about this ahead of this whole like TNOG challenge thing for people to kind of get to know me and ask questions maybe about me or about things that I've been, doing in the garden that I've found success with, and other things. And I kind of feel like the response to this wasn't as it wasn't like people weren't as engaged as I thought they would be over it. So like, are you kind of like one track? Like I signed up for gardening. I only want gardening, nothing else. Um, are you the type of person that typically minds if somebody's like, well, let me show a little bit more? Because I think, at some point, yes, you're always learning, but as you grow, I feel like people expect you to grow and to see more from you. But then, with that, I kind of feel like you lose some of your, like core audience. So I don't know. That's just kind of like an observation that I've had as someone that has like multiple YouTube channels. And I don't know if it's kind of like you just can't satisfy everybody and you just got to keep pushing, or, you know, if YouTube is really becoming, it has to be a niche in order for you to succeed. He said that's how people are. Shifty. Like, what are y'all thoughts on that? Can I find my questions? What did I do with the questions? I don't think I realized how much I post on my community page. Because now everything is just like, I feel like I'm scrolling through a book. Okay, I found it. Yay. It says make sure you put your hashtags in the description box. The algorithm will push the videos more and share videos out on other platforms. I thought I was really good about that too. And I do feel like for a while it worked, but then it was like it just didn't seem like it was doing anything. And I was like, it's weird because if you've been like following my channel from like close to the beginning, I think when I first started, I didn't expect the channel to grow as fast as it actually did. And then it just kind of went into this like lull. And I was like, okay, I don't know what's going on. So I figured like maybe like the systems were just like, every so often the algorithm switches who they're promoting and that kind of stuff. And, I see it, like I don't pay attention to it just on my channel, right? Because naturally that's not how you study stuff. But you see it in other people's like channels too, and it's just like, okay, you can see there's a clear change when like the algorithm just kind of switches over and that kind of stuff. And that's not like, Twin, I feel I get that, like the whole new channel thing, and it's like you got to get your feet in there good. But I feel like YouTube has this thing, and where it's just like they'll push and push and push you until you get to like a certain number of subscribers, and they'll just flatline your channel for a good while, and then all of a sudden, next thing you know, it's just like, all right, everything's picking up again. So I don't know if anybody's got the code to the algorithm. Drop that in the chat for all of us, please. Okay, I saw that too. I don't. How long have you been gardening again? Because you have a lot of videos. Uh, a lot. You said there's no code. That's not what it seems like. I don't know. I feel like there's some channels that just get on here and it's like boom, they done hit 1,000. Yeah, I haven't seen anything like crazy, like somebody just comes on and it's like, oh, I'm at 1 million subscribers. But I've definitely seen some. It's like you got 10 videos up, and then you have people that are busting their chops, and it's like how long they've been doing this. Like, why isn't their channel being put into the algorithm? 2014. Oh, you've been going a long time. I need to watch some more of your videos, get some of those gems. I do. I do Instagram. So I'll be honest, y'all, I am not that great at social media. I am a raw in your face type of person. I do not do like a lot of phone conversation. I will talk your ear off if we are in person. Like we can talk all day long and I will have no problem. When I leave you, that's it. We probably won't have a conversation until the next time we see each other, and if we do, it'll be very short. Like I just am not type of person that likes to hold up on a phone. um I do have Instagram, which I've been pretty good about my gardening Instagram. So it's the same, not quite homesteading, just without the ESK garden. I actually do post on there quite a bit, and I usually do more real time stuff with that. So if y'all are interested in seeing what's happening in the garden like today, that is that is where you'll find most of that stuff. I try to do some real time stuff on YouTube, but with YouTube, it kind of messes me up with my videos, because then it's like you might see where I think I'm doing something good by sharing, right? Where it's like, oh, maybe they'll want to see a little bit more real time shot. Then now the video is coming out 2 weeks from now, and it's like, didn't she already do this? You know? Hey, Jay, growing with Jay in the building. Hey. See, I have to follow you on IG Twin, and you said so I have to come over there. Absolutely. I was like, in person, I just know like you and I would cut the hell up, because Cece is a whole character. So if y'all don't know like why we call each other twin, we have the same birthday. So our birthday is June 19th. I was watching your what video was it when you were doing the leaf-footed bugs, and my husband was listening. He was like, he said, y'all, she's crazy. He was cracking up. And I was like, if this is not me in a nutshell, just mad random. It was too funny. But yeah, so I was like, I don't know if y'all have any questions for me in general. Like, feel free to drop them, drop them in the chat. Yes, okay, Geminis, we are special people. And I was like, I feel like we just caught a bad rap. Oh, my husband is on. I'm gonna tell y'all a story about that in a second. But I just feel like we catch a bad rap automatically. But you know, we're definitely some of the more entertaining people that you'll meet. Oh god. I was gonna say we don't have nobody spying today. So my first live, I was telling people, I was like, don't be in here. We have people in the background. Don't say hello. I'm like, you can sit here and not say nothing in the whole chat, but you want to say hello when you come up in here. I was raised old school. So I went up to our office and he was like, oh, yeah, that was me in the background. Why are you on the live not saying nothing? I gave him an earful. I was like, don't be on my chat not announcing yourself. You don't need no CIA, FBI, nothing going on up here. Cece said, well, I don't have a pet turtle. Cece, I don't either. Don't play with me. I do not do, oh my God. I was like, that little turtle, he was so cute though from a distance, looking in the garden bed, or trying to anyway, trying to get to my stuff. But y'all, I don't know if people get the real feeling when I say that I do not vibe with bugs unless they are and bugs or animals unless they are common household pets. Jay, I'm in zone 8B. What do I have grown already? You be following my page, Jay? I've been gardening since August, and the garden has been going since then. I have a lot happening. I'm doing a live tour next Friday, but you know, we're in full swing. The peppers are in, the tomatoes are in. What else I have here? Cucumbers, zucchini, a little slow. I have lots of fruit growing. I kind of like got out way ahead of myself with the fruits and things. I have some new fruit trees that came today. Excuse me, y'all. I think I got my regular guava. I got a galangal plant. Hopefully it grows well here. It's a tropical plant. What else do I have going on? Right now, I really think I have a pepper garden. My onions are still in. Hi, Alwanda. How are you? Garlic is doing really well. So, did you do a short on your new trees? Not yet. Not yet. I was thinking about doing like a short unboxing for the new ones. I'm gonna tell y'all like the last two, I want to say like the last 2 or 3 weeks. So, when I first started the channel, I was recording, when I mean like probably every single day. And there's nothing wrong with that part of it. But when you have to sit down and do all the editing and you're pushing out like videos, my commendations to people that push out videos on a daily basis, because baby, it's not for me. It's not for me. But it got to a point where I just kind of felt like I was so far behind as far as like what you guys were actually seeing compared to the time frame, that I was like, all right, let me slow down on recording and just kind of like let the videos like catch up. And I've been recording, but I just try not to do as much. And if I think it's something that I just want to share quickly, that's where you kind of start seeing me taking advantage of like the shorts a little bit more, because I find that to be a little bit easier, a little bit quicker, and it lets people kind of stay up to date without having to sit through, an 8 or 10 minute video all the time. Jay said, your notifications are on. Yeah, YouTube, it's funny too. So I will say, I think everybody here knows it, right? But if for some reason, like if you see me comment, or if you leave a comment and you see me respond to other people and I don't respond to your comment, YouTube does this weird thing where it's like it'll block out some comments, basically like they'll disappear until you respond to the ones that it's actually showing you. And then unless you actually go back into like your YouTube studio, you won't see it. So I do get notifications to my emails to try to keep up with it, but sometimes there are messages that get missed, and I'm like, one time it was like 2 weeks, and I was like, oh God, I'm so sorry. I was like, I just saw this, so I don't know. I don't know what's up with YouTube, but I think social media in general can be a lot. You say, Kay, you do a lot of shorts. Shorts are actually, to me, a little bit more work in terms of if you want them to be quality, where it's like you're not just like jumping on real quick saying a little short blurb. Short form videos actually are more work than long form videos. Shorts are YouTube main focus because you can get paid for them now. Yeah, and that's the thing I've caught on to as well. So I will say, if you are someone with a channel and you are not taking advantage of all of the things that they are promoting, your videos will be left behind. You have to do, they basically force you to have to do everything in order for your channel to stay like in the algorithm. So Jay, I know YouTube is a lot, social media is a lot in general. And I will say, like, I know I've shared that I do food content as well, and that's kind of taking a back seat to the gardening stuff, because I'm trying to get the garden off the ground so that I can actually do more things with the food stuff. So it's one of those things where it's like I'm kind of paying for it in that space because I haven't been as consistent. Like here, I've been like so consistent, so I'm seeing a different kind of result from it, if that makes sense. But I will be getting back to that. I do share some of my recipes like for the garden, but I try to keep the recipes that I share from like, or rather on the gardening channel, to things that I'm pulling from the garden. You say YouTube Academy is YouTube school. I need to invest in myself a little bit more with that stuff. It's just like where to start. I want to say like there are things courses I want to take, like on YouTube, on Instagram. I don't know how I truly feel about TikTok, to be honest, but I know that a lot of the trends come from there. So if you're on top of those trends and you can incorporate them somehow, it definitely will help in terms of getting your channel out. And I would say one other thing, if y'all are not doing it too, in your like shorts, pay attention to the songs that are also popular, because even if maybe the topic of your short is not something that's trending, if you're using a trending song, that will actually help you get more views too. Which is why I'm very strategic about the songs I select for my shorts. So I don't know if Edie was able to get on, but I know she had some questions for me too. And I took a picture. We'll grab it in a second. So just want to get like some of the questions out the way. And I think Jay asked one of the same questions that she had, was kind of like what zone I'm in, where I'm located. So for anybody that doesn't know, I'm in South Carolina. I've been in South Carolina probably for 3 years permanently. We've had the home here since 2007, and I'm a New York girl. Now I have a little bit of a Southern heart, you know. I toggle between the two depending on how people are pulling my strings. She asked if I was about a mile from the coast. I said that on a few of my videos. I live about a mile off of the coast, which is nice. You know, it has its ups, but it also has its downs. One of the downsides to it for gardening, for sure, is the winds that we get. I don't know if I've shown y'all. My lemon tree looks atrocious. And it's because of the winds. And what made me get into gardening? That was another question. So I've always grown herbs. I grew them. We were in an apartment before, and naturally, I didn't really have a ton of space. You know, I had a family member as a landlord. You would think you'd have a little leniency with that, but that was not the case. So there were a lot of things, and aside from spacing too, you just couldn't do. So I did start with growing herbs, and I always talk about like my culinary interests, right? And I've always had a desire to be able to grow some things, but I didn't imagine it would be on this scale. I will say that. When I decided to start the garden, it was kind of like I spent about a good month watching garden videos. And, you know, I think a lot of people kind of question how I found like success as a new gardener in the way that I have. And when I tell y'all, I spent about a good 30 days, 12 hours a day. And it's like, where did you find this time? I was not working at the time. 12 hours a day, nothing but garden videos. I wanted to know any and everything I needed to know in order to start the garden. That included, you know, building, setups, soil, plants, individual plants, how to grow them. The amount of information I consumed, it was to the point that I was just like, my head was spinning with information. And I think at the end of that like 30-day period, I was just like, I said to my husband, I said, I want to do this. And I was like, I kind of want to do it now. And he was like, I think we should wait a little bit. And I was like, is there ever really, it's kind of like the question, you know, is there ever really a best time to do anything? Right. So I just kind of went full steam, but I spent about a good 300 educational hours on all of this stuff before I even did anything. And then even when planting, like every time I would plant something, I would go and rewatch videos about that specific plant that I was doing. But what made me want to do it, I will say the final kick in the behind was the rise in grocery prices. I was just done, you know. And I'm not in any position, where it's like I was fortunately kind of like, okay, I'm weighing my options. Like, do I eat or do I do this? But it's like we all get tired, You don't stay with your head above water just constantly rolling over for everything that's going to cost you. So I was like, I'm done. I'm tired. Eggs were, and this was before like God awful, before they got to like $13 a dozen. But they were like constantly. It was like every 2 weeks I would go to the store. The egg prices were higher. Then it was like looking at the cost of like strawberries and different vegetables. And I was just telling my husband, I'm like, we got to do something, because I said, yeah, it's not an issue now. I said, but if things keep going the way that they're going, we will be at a place where it's like, all right, well, do we do this or do we do that? And it kind of is upsetting to me that is an unfortunate reality for a lot of people. So it was one of those things where it's just like, I think that gave me the final kick in the caboose, where I was like, something has to change. And it was clear that the inflation wasn't. And I think that was around the time the gas prices too were, what were they? Oh my God. Were we up to like 5 something a gallon for regular or something like that? California had gotten up to like almost $8 a gallon in gas. I thought that was crazy. So it was a means to kind of expand on something that I was doing on a very small scale, and then an answer to what I kind of was seeing around me. And it was just like, am I going to be, and it's like, this is saying I like to kind of say, right? I'm Brooklyn girl. I was raised in the projects, and there's a saying I like to say, it's called, I'm a product of my environment, but I'm a product of my environment, right? And it's like, do you become a product of your environment, where you kind of let everything that's happening around you just happen? Or do you take what's happening and take control of the situation in the best way that you can? Oh, it motivated me to win. I was like, I said, we got to do something. And when I say I was moving at light speed, trying to get this stuff together, to the point, yes, it did get extremely overwhelming at some points. At some points, it still is. And it's because when you're trying to build and grow at the same time, at the rate that I was doing it, I was burnt out. I would say, I think around like February, by the time we got to like February, and especially that was like after all the seed starting, I was just like, I'm done. I need a break. And I think I was thankful at that point that I was filming very early on the way I was, and like my videos were scheduled, I mean, weeks in advance, like weeks in advance. Because if they had not been, I probably would have been like inconsistent here too. Jay said I straight up catch an attitude when I need to buy veggies in the off season. Come on now. Come on somebody, because it just be a struggle. It be a struggle. I'm like, and I'll be looking at things like that, like butter, the same way. It's like there's no butter on sale. How many people use Kerrygold butter now? Kerrygold butter. It's the crazy thing is, this is right. This is marketing, right? This is the way business goes, the way supply and demand goes. I remember when I first started buying Kerrygold butter. I used to buy it at Trader Joe's. The butter was $2.99. Kerrygold got popular. YouTube helped it take off, and now for 1 8-ounce thing of butter, it's like $4.50. Are you kidding me? But I'm with you, Jay. I be sucking my teeth all up and down the aisle, because where I wouldn't have been like, oh, just put it, get it, throw it in the cart, whatever. Now I just be like, yeah, do I really need that? I don't need that. Said people need to do that, have at least a week worth of videos set back because life happens. It's true. And when you a one man show, like gardening, I think is a little bit easier. But when you start doing things like that kitchen content and you're like cooking food content has to be some of the hardest content to create. And it really, you have to think about angles, you have to think about sound, you have to think about good shots of the food. And I was like, girl, it is a lot. But I think gardening is a little bit easier. But the reality is things do happen, you know? Like I took yesterday I took yesterday off and I was like back and forth about it. I was like, well, I'm doing a live. Is it going to kill me to miss one video? So I kind of cringed at it because I was like, I've been like so consistent. But the reality is like one of my cats is sick. You know, we've been taking care of her. April has been busy. The last 2 weeks, literally, when I say I have been churning, churning the midnight oil, not literally, but like figuratively with the garden, just trying to make sure that we're not missing things and, you know, I'm not like my work is not in vain. I've literally been out here. The camera has been off. All I've been doing is just putting my stuff in the ground. And if it wasn't for like having those videos together already, you know, I wouldn't have been able to because it was like I had to make a decision. It's like, are we just gonna record and keep moving as slow as we are, or are we gonna get the stuff taken care of? Kay said make butter is only one ingredient. It is, but Kay, the cost of heavy cream, girl. You know how much heavy cream costs? And I'm like, and I'm using, I don't want to call it cheap, but it works fine. But I'm not even using the kind of heavy cream I want to use. But like one little, what are those things come in? 1 quart is almost $5. Could you imagine, like with the amount of butter? I would rather just pay for the labor of the butter being done, if I'm being honest. Kay says she's tired of paying $10 for a container of butter. Girl, where are you paying $10 for butter? Cece said it's $7 here. That's close to what it is here if it's not on sale. I try to wait until it's on sale and I get it for $3.99. But you know, I'm gonna order from like the Websterant store. It's gonna cost me a little bit more, but in the long run, it is cheaper to just get like a big case for like I think you get something like 36 or something like that, and it's about $100 or $200 or something. Okay, where are you located? $10 for a container of butter. What kind of container is this? Is this specialty butter? I think we all tired of paying for it. And I was like, that's the other thing, right? And that was the second part of the conversation I do want to have, which is like when it comes to this stuff, you know, gardening. Oh, yeah, see. So you knew exactly what I was talking about when I mentioned those gas prices. Jesus Christ. And I was like, the funny thing when I moved down here from New York, because you know New York is expensive too. It's definitely not as high as California, but everything was so inexpensive here, which was one of the things that like made it, you know, a worthwhile move. And of course, now Myrtle Beach is like everybody wants to move to Myrtle Beach, so everything is just steadily creeping in price. So it's like you move here, yeah, you might spend a little bit less on housing, but the crazy thing is like when we first bought this house here, it was the country at that point. It was still kind of country. And I think houses like single family homes were still going for about 100 grand. Those same houses now are 3 and up. And I think that's crazy. It's reflecting in the food prices, it's reflecting in the gas prices. And I'm just like, the reality is the more people move somewhere, the higher the cost of living is going to be because there's a lot of building that comes with it. You say, I can't believe it's not butter. Yeah, that's crazy. That's nuts. $10. At that point, I would make my own butter. I would say that. But I mean, I can't imagine that heavy cream is much less expensive if the butter is $10. So let's see. What other questions did she ask? It says, am I a native South Carolinian? I think everybody knows the answer to that already. Did I grow up in a gardening family? I did not grow up in a gardening family. Now, a lot of my family is from the South, but whether or not they were gardeners, I have no idea. So my immediate family is from New York. We're all in the city. There was no gardening. I would say one of the things I feel like I did learn, probably a little too late, and I say too late in a sense of just kind of being in New York. New York was like the second largest, is the second largest apple producing state. And there are actually a lot of farms upstate New York, where people grow, pumpkins and fresh vegetables and that kind of stuff. But we just did not take those kinds of trips up there. My mother was a single parent. So when she was working, I was in school and I would, be at home doing my homework, doing what I had to do to make sure I was staying out of trouble. But, there just wasn't a lot of that time because like she worked, really hard to make sure that we were taken care of. So I did not learn about gardening until I like truly learned about gardening and, really how our food was grown until I decided to start a garden. She asked, what is my dream for my ultimate garden? My ultimate goal is to have land. And when I say have land, like, yes, we have land here. But CC said, Twin, you was a good girl, nice. I wasn't a troublemaker. I'm still not a troublemaker. I had my moments. I'll just say that. I did stuff. But was I a bad kid? No, I was not. Um, I do want land, and I want a pretty good amount of it. I would like to at some point. I want to say go the farm route, and I think for me, more than anything, like I said, I feel like people should have access to good quality food, right? And I feel like that's how a lot of people start. Do I think I would ever want to do commercial farming? No. Would I want to be able to set up a space where I can serve like the community I'm in, where they might be able to come into the farm and actually buy stuff? I think that would be nice if I can attain that. Um, I do want to be able to get to the homesteading place. How far that goes for me, I don't know. Will it be rearing animals? Will it be slaughtering and doing all that stuff? I don't know. Um, I think there's a lot that comes with that in terms of mindset, right? And, one of the questions which kind of led me down this like path to I guess doing this live, somebody asked me, about my channel name, and they were like, why not quite homesteading? And they kind of gave me a challenge to kind of look up the definition of homesteading, which I had not actually done before this. I think we kind of have these perspectives that get shaped around, the things we see and what's associated with the thing that we're talking about. And homesteading, from what I had seen, for the people that are calling themselves homesteaders, is so much more involved. But I think by general definition, yes, we are technically all homesteaders. But for me, I think homesteading is a mindset. And I think I'm in a place where I don't have the mindset yet to really consider myself a homesteader. So start your own farmers market. I'll come back to that. But I guess in terms of like mindset, around like homesteading, I know Cece, you posed this question on your page too. What do you consider, gardening versus homesteading versus farming? And like, when do you, I guess, what does it mean for you to shift from one to the other? Child, Cece, I'm done with you. She said I could see you plucking some chicken and raising baby goats. Now, if clearly I'm not showing myself for who I really am, you will not see me plucking no daggone chicken ever. I don't care what kind of homesteading I'm doing. I told my husband, I said, when we get to the point that like we have this land that I'm dreaming of, I said, we are going to have help because there are just some things that I know I'm not equipped to do. I'm way too squeamish for it. And if I'm not doing it, that means he has to do it. And he's just not going to be that involved. She said she could see me raising baby goats. I could see myself maybe raising them in a sense of like nurturing for sure. But plucking some chickens, helping a baby goat or helping a goat have a baby, mm-mm. Not I, sis, not I. Oh, I feel like you've been coming for me, twin. Like, what's up? Oh God, she said the pet. She said I got a pet turtle. I feel like she really trying to mess with me, y'all. No, not me. And that's why I say like the mindset is I'm working towards some things, right? I'm working towards understanding and accepting the whole like ecosystem. And, acceptance is, I have a toe in the door. I'll say that. Um, trying to allow nature to do what it's going to do. But I do struggle. I struggle a lot with embracing the bugs and, all the things that really come along with gardening. Um, I enjoy the aspect of nurturing the plants, doing fertilizing, being out in the garden, just kind of enjoying that stuff. And of course, harvesting. But when it's time to till soil, and I'll give you like a good example. So I have been struggling with like slugs. I don't know if that's a thing across, the board, but them things creep me out so badly, like things that are super squiggly, things that are scaly. And I stayed away from one of my raised beds for a while. Like I needed to harvest some beets for a long while. And I stayed away from it because I'm just like, I don't want to deal with the slugs. I ruined some of my lettuce because I read that cinnamon can work against them. I don't know if y'all have ever tried that. I poured, instead of me actually like putting the cinnamon in something or doing spraying it around like the soil, spreading it around the soil because I didn't want to touch them. I didn't want like anything rubbing up against me. I just threw the cinnamon on the lettuce and basically ran away. And I burnt up my lettuce. Like, so cinnamon burns your lettuce if you didn't know that. I was like, I cannot. Them slugs are just, I think the two things that I know for sure, and I say maybe three, because one of them I just discovered that really can mess me up out here. Slugs. Um, I'm praying that I don't have any like confrontation with the squash vine borer, like the larva. because that stuff is just like, it just is gross to me. And then who is it? I was watching the New Orleans gardener. In her video, she showed something called a hammerhead. What is it called? A hammerhead worm or something like that. And I was like, well, thank God I saw it on your channel first, because baby, if I would have started in my garden, I said that probably would have been the end of me in gardening right there. So I don't know if y'all have ever seen that. I know everybody keeps saying slugs like beer, you could put them in a container, right? In the garden. But we don't really often have beer just laying around. And I don't know. I think the damage was already done. I just didn't even want to go near them. But maybe I'll try it. I'll see how the pressure lets up over the next like couple of weeks, because I did buy some Sluggo Plus, and I'll see if that like helps. But before I have to start putting extra stuff. She said I never seen that type of worm. Look it up and you'll be glad that you didn't, especially not in your garden. And apparently they are like, I was like, well, is that something that's native to like New Orleans? And then I went and looked it up, and apparently it's not New Orleans, it's the South. They like hot and humid weather. So guess where they live? In all the places that we do. I was like, I said, now if I would have seen that in my garden first, I was like, I think I would have been inside for the entire month of May. But yeah, so land is the ultimate goal. My biggest things that I want to do are to be able to have a place where people can come actually purchase food that is grown with as little, like, I guess, interference as possible, as far as like, spraying and that stuff goes. I want to be able to donate. I do feel like we're not doing enough around like hunger, where we can. And the US, just, we waste too much food in the US for people to be going hungry. And I think food just should not cost as much as it does. And then I just want to be where I don't want to be necessarily off grid per se, but I do like the idea of having a portion of land that I can homestead on for us, and then maybe, the land being large enough to where the farm or something can be on the other side that people can come to. So people won't know it's connected, but excuse me, y'all. But that it will be available for people to come to. Says, is my family enjoying my garden, and are they eating things that they didn't eat before? We definitely are eating things that we didn't eat before and or did not eat in abundance. My husband actually, in spite of being very much against it at the time that we started, he's been enjoying it. And I literally tell him every time I pull something in and I'm like processing the food or trying to like store it, I'm just like, this is like, my mind is like literally blown. I was like, I can't believe I actually grew this and we're eating it. It's definitely a surreal feeling, with us both being from a place like New York City where, all of our food is basically imported because there are no farms within like the city limits. Or, I mean, they have like urban farms, but that's not where people are sourcing food from. Kay said, yes, the slugs are on my nerves. Girl, they are on my nerves, on my bags, on my beds, on my raised beds. Like, they are on everything. And they were not invited. They were not invited. So I purchased 2 hula hoops and cut them to fit over my large container. So, and covered it with tulle to protect my zucchini. so I could pollinate my own food. You know what's funny? I haven't even covered up my zucchini and my squash plants, and I'm questioning whether or not I should. One of the things that I did late summer, so when I started my garden, it was in August, but I did plant zucchini and I got like zucchini out of it. I actually did not have an issue with the squash vine borer. And I don't know if that is because of the weight of the plants. I had some like cracking like along the root stem. So I ended up grafting the plants, and I never had an issue, even though I did see probably like one squash vine borer hanging around. Never had an issue. My issue was with the pickle worm. The pickle worm destroyed several squash plants and my cucumber plants. And they're disastrous because they actually like the blossoms, but when there's not enough blossoms, they bore into the fruit. So imagine picking all your stuff and then you're like, oh, this looks pretty good. And then you flip it over and there's like a bunch of little holes in the fruit that you can't eat. So I was like, part of me wants to kind of feel out if I can actually grow the squash and get ahead of this, like, vine borer. I'm still going to graft the roots, but then the other part of me is like, I probably should cover this because the thing I fear is having to clean up the ickiness if, it happens. Cece said food pantry will take fresh fruit and veggies to hand out to the community. When I get there, I definitely will look into what is available around here. I was like, I haven't produced enough food to do that just yet. Like I've shared out a little bit with my neighbors for sure, but I'm trying to like learn, what it takes to grow certain things and how much, I can really handle. Cool news. She said that would work too. I've been struggling trying to get like these containers covered for some things. So I might have to take a piece of advice on that too, because the birds were eating my blueberries even though they aren't ripe. So I was like, I don't know if they were just like testing them out to see if they were ready, but I definitely saw a few missing pieces off of some of the clusters. But yes, my husband does enjoy the food, and I don't know, since I've like been gardening, we've been doing some creative like things with cooking, and like I've always been a creative cook, but now like before he used to help me. Now he don't even help me. He's like, what you put in this? So, but I don't know. What is y'all like? What is your mindset on like, gardening versus homesteading versus what's the other one? I said farming. Farming. Hi, Aisha. Welcome. She said she covers her blueberries with mesh tree covers. Yeah, right now I'm using tulle. I actually want to get like the actual covers that I guess they're fitted for like the containers. So it hasn't been easy because of our winds here. Do y'all feel there's a difference? Or is it like all in the same? Does anybody do that? Like, do you guys donate things to your local food pantries? Or so that's like the other thing too, right? For us, for me to do something like that, I do have to go through like some type of organization. I don't know if this is like this in a lot of places, but it is actually illegal to feed homeless people in South Carolina. Like you can actually end up in jail for that. Why? I don't know. I think that's insane. But I remember telling somebody one day I had me and my husband went food shopping, and there was like these, like guys that always kind of are around like Walmart. And my spirit just kind of compelled me that day. I was like, let's get some extra stuff. I spent maybe like $20, $25, got some like sandwiches, some fresh fruits, things like that. and just gave them like the grocery bags. And I was like, here, you guys enjoy. And I shared that with someone. They were like, it's illegal to feed the homeless here. If you get caught, you'll end up in jail. And I guess the thinking behind it is like, oh, they don't want them like getting, I guess, comfortable or hiding out in certain places, that kind of stuff. And I went and looked it up, and sure enough, it is illegal. And I just thought that was crazy. Wanda says she hasn't covered her blueberries yet, but she has the mesh netting. I haven't covered the raspberries. The raspberries is still like coming on, so they're not really doing anything. But the birds have been watching these blueberries for the last, I want to say, month. And I mean, they're out here every day. So I guess they were just like, well, let me take a dabble and see what's going on. And clearly somebody found them good enough to continue eating. Cece, she said, I consider myself a gardener, but now a farmer since my most recent harvest. What was that, the corn? Mm. Yeah, see, I don't understand that. And it's like, it's illegal to feed the homeless in Houston unless you're in an organization. But at the same time, it's like, if the, I guess if the resources aren't enough and somebody's willing to help, like, it really shouldn't be an issue. And I get like sometimes, yes, it might be a means to protect. Oh, okay. I see your comments, Cece. Sometimes, yes, it might be a means to protect like the actual like homeless population, because of course there are people that are not nice in the world, and they do try to do things to them, and like I get that part of it. But when you have genuine people that want to help, like they shouldn't have to worry about being put in jail, right? To give somebody a meal. Kay says she hasn't covered her blueberries yet. She let the dogs out this morning, so they chased the birds. Oh no. That's how my cat be. Bliss, she is like, this cat cracks me up. She sits in the window all day, like doing a little cat thing they do with their throat to like at the birds, trying to get to them, and you bring her outside and she has nothing. I'm just like, girl, like you are not about the life. Just be quiet. Sit down. Cece said I donate to the elderly at my mom's church. Oh, that's nice. That was one of the things I thought about too, just like getting, I guess, getting the resources to the right people, to the people that actually need them. Um, I'm going to have to do some research. I will say that around here. See, so you talking about the potato video? Yeah, I saw that post. She said I'm a farmer, but I don't know. Anybody else want to chime in on that? Like, I have a question. So, when you first came across my channel and it said not quite homesteading, right? Because I get this part of it too. Were you hesitant to click on a video because it's like, well, if you're not homesteading, what the heck are you doing? What are you doing? Because I feel like sometimes too, and people don't realize, like, your channel name can really either make or break you. If someone is looking for garden or homesteading content, and you have something that has nothing to do with any of the above, it's like, how will people know that your content is actually what they want to watch? And I kind of feel like sometimes, like like I wonder if like the channel name is potentially maybe a part of the hindrance. So a lot of churches that have food pantries accept donations. But usually, aren't those like Aisha? Aren't those more like canned goods, non-perishables? CC, yes, at first, to be honest. Are you talking about the channel name? Like it was a deterrent? Okay, she said my goji berry, though the birds haven't eaten them all. You said the birds ate all your goji berries? I heard those trees are really like can be really invasive. Yeah, see, I'm not playing with these birds because I am all too excited about these fruits. I was like, I don't even mind sharing some. I could leave you a berry or two on the patio, but like you just not about to rummage my whole tree. Aisha said, I think your intentions are clear with your name. Yeah, and I think that's another reason it was like kind of prompting me to put like the ESK garden on there. And I know a lot of people are like, well, what is ESK? What is ESK? But in case you have missed it or you have not seen where I've like clarified that, my food content is labeled under Eat Sip Crave. And a part of what I intend to do with some of the things coming out of the garden, I do make seasonings. I sell seasonings. Like I have products in a like they have like these like marketplace stores here. So I do have like my products in like marketplace stores, and I want to create a kind of like a limited edition garden line where the things that are coming out of the garden, primarily this year it'll be with peppers mostly, but I'm going to be creating like a select garden seasoning line of something, which I thought would be pretty nice to play around with and see if we can make something out of that. Cece said, yes, I don't watch many homesteading channels. I like homesteading channels, but I think there are some things, and this is another thing, right? So with the mindset, and recognizing where I am in my journey is I like the part that is gardening, right? When people are planting and harvesting and they might be showing what they're doing with the actual like food. But when they start getting into all the animal rearing and all this other stuff, I check out mentally because it's not something I have an interest in right now, right? It's not something I'm doing. So it's like, yeah, if I watch a channel, I might watch, a video or two about it if it's mixed in with something else. But if, you go from talking about gardening to now everything is about animal rearing, I'm probably not going to watch the videos because that's just not where I am in my journey. So that is true. My mom's church gives away groceries, meat, and fresh produce. I'm not sure where they get it. Yeah, and I feel like that's where things might get a little tricky because when it comes to fresh like stuff, especially things that are perishable, I think they might have like certain requirements. It's not to say that I'm not going to look, but you know, that's I guess the kind of stuff that I wonder, and finding places that I can actually take garden fresh produce. I know that they're out there, but it's you know you might need to be recognized on a certain level, or you might have to have certain certifications. So those things I'm definitely gonna have to look into. CZ, you said you didn't know I had merch. Yeah, I try not to like. I don't know, and maybe this is why. Like, I think I'm bad at marketing, right? Because I don't ever want to feel like I'm like pushing stuff on people. I started the gardening channel like for the reasons I started the gardening channel, which is to document the journey, to also share my journey with other people, and to do what I said I wanted to do, and kind of linking the two, right? As far as like the gardening and the cooking, to elevate my own cooking, but also to do it with fresh stuff. And I never want to feel like I'm constantly trying to sell somebody something, because I do think there is a point where you kind of lose authenticity. Like if that's all you're doing. If people ask, I will absolutely tell them. But the food channel, the food stuff is the food stuff. The garden stuff is the garden stuff. And where they intersect, they intersect. But like I said, anything I post around food on my channel, I try to keep it relative to what's happening in the garden. My food channel, I will put that back on, like, and do my things there. I will link it if anybody's interested in that kind of content. But, at the end of the day, I know that people like what they like. I'm the same way. And I believe if the people that need to find me in that space will find me, the same way the people that will find me in this space will find me. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm sure that is frustrating. Well, cover up the rest of your trees, because that's not okay. But that's how I feel about my lettuce and the slugs. I've thrown away 2 full crops of heading lettuce because slugs have been just kind of hanging out in lettuce. Awanda says she prefers channels that garden in the backyard. Other gardeners with land garden differently. Yeah, I'm like, there are a few channels that I watch where people do garden with land, and I find them interesting. But I do notice that I tend to gravitate more towards like the smaller space stuff too. I don't know why though. I think, like I said, it just has to do with like where you are in your journey, and whether or not you feel like it relates to what you're doing at that particular time. Like there are some channels that, yes, before they've gotten to that space where it's like, okay, I've connected with this person, like just through liking maybe their personality or something like to that effect. So I might watch the videos where if it was a new channel, I just wouldn't. But I think the content still has to be somewhat relevant to you, right? Awanda, does that mean you're gonna leave me when I like decide I want to expand? Don't leave me. Cece said, yes, true. I keep my channel separate. Yeah, and I've learned, that it's like when you start mixing too much into like one specific thing, you kind of lose your, I guess, branding, if you will. And that's where it makes it harder for you to succeed. So I was like, it's more work in a sense of, yes, you have to keep up and manage multiple channels, but it is a lot easier in the sense of when I sit down and I do gardening stuff, I know I'm doing X, Y, and Z. When I sit down and do something for food, it's like, all right, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. And then there's no crossover to where it's like, all right, did I do this? Did I do that for that? Or did I do this for that? Like, so it definitely makes it definitely makes it a little bit easier to streamline. I should have said I've given up on growing lettuce outside. I just purchased another hydroponic system just for lettuce. What were your issues with the lettuce outside? I haven't, the crazy thing, the things like the romaine, things like spinach. What else did I grow? I even grew like curly endive and I had no issues. Like even now in the grow bags, the slugs, they get on my little grow bags, but I have no issues and I haven't really sprayed the plants. I've only sprayed them once. Um it's something about those heading lettuces and I think it really just has to do with the moisture being trapped in there. So it creates like this perfect system for slugs to just be like, aha, I found a home. But I would love to hear like what your issues were. Cece said, I'm definitely expanding. Yeah, you started I saw your video where you started like doing your expansion. What else are you planning to do, Cece? Like what are some of your goals? Wanda said no, Ebony. I'm not gonna leave you when you expand. You can't leave me. She's been here like almost since the beginning, providing encouragement. I will tell you, I tried the pool thing. I didn't like it. It just did not go well. So I did try that suggestion from you, even though you'll probably never see it on the channel. Hey Gina, welcome. Happy Friday. You feeling better? Bolting. Okay. Where are you at, Aisha? Like where are you located? What zone? Oh, Florida. Okay. We get 85 degrees a day. 85-degree days in December. Oh, child. Yeah, that's reason enough. Especially if you don't have time to get anything from the plants. Did you try doing it in the shade too, and it still had the same problem? That's good. Yeah, I was like, not say you have to share if you don't feel like putting your business out here, Gina, but if you don't mind sharing, like, was it just like a cold or was something else going on? I tell y'all, I have like really, really bad allergies. These allergies are kicking my behind right now. Cece said, I will eventually take up half of the front yard. Okay. Yeah. I was like, it's one of those things. I feel like the more you plant, the more you want to plant. So eventually it's just like, oh, I want to do this. Oh, I want to do that. But I'm trying to definitely keep myself contained too. But I definitely think it's a good use of space and land because we got to eat. Definitely got to eat. He said, yep, same in Texas. Sinus infection. Yeah, I know how that goes. That's actually where my allergy started too. I was like, I had a really bad sinus infection and I've never gotten rid of sinus issues since. And now I'm literally allergic to everything. And when I was younger, never allergic to a thing. You said y'all finally getting warm temps in Ohio. I'm ready for everybody because people are just like upset in the comments because this weather is acting up. Hey, Gleesy, how are you? Everybody is over it. I'm over it too. I said, I know it seems like there's like a lot happening here, but there's a lot that's not happening too. The tomatoes are moving slow. The eggplant is moving slow. The cucumbers, the zucchini. The weather is just, it's, I don't know what this weather is doing, but are you saying like it's inevitable, like the sinus infection? What makes it inevitable in Ohio? Because I have never been into Ohio and they've been tearing my nose up. I was like, it's so bad too that I think I'm finally discovering, like, so I tell y'all my cat is sick, Muffin is sick. And I think one of the things, she has allergies. And we're just now like figuring it out. She just had like a CBC panel done because she wasn't eating, and all roads, some of them, well, not all, but some of them are leading to allergies. And I was just like, that's how bad the environmental stuff is here. You said it was 40 degrees 2 days ago. It was 40s in the nighttime now here too, but that was nighttime. You said now it's 75. But 40s in May at night is not normal for us. I don't know that we're supposed to get cold again. Definitely not our daytime temps, but the nighttime temperatures have been really, really finicky. So it's like one day, it's 65, close to 70 at night, and then now it's 45. Like, what is the tomato supposed to do with that? What are the tomatoes and the eggplant supposed to do with that? Lacey said they finally have 10 days in the 60s and 70s. Those are your daytime temperatures, though. Like, what are you guys doing at night? I mean, that's good because it seems like this hot weather just doesn't want to come. We at a valley, pretty much everyone suffers with allergies and sinus issues. Wow, that's sucky. Said it was Awanda said it was pouring rain yesterday evening. I was not expecting it at all. This weather has been extremely bipolar for real. Tell me about it. I'm gonna post a short tomorrow showing y'all what some of my plants look like. So we had it's called like a microburst. I didn't even know what that was until about 3 days ago. My neighbor told me, but it's basically like a mini tornado. And then we had a thunderstorm that followed it and a hailstorm that came along. When I say my plants look like they were in the ring with Mike Tyson, I was like, what is this? I've never experienced a hailstorm before, and my plants are suffering right now because they they literally were shredded. Some of them snapped off, like pieces snapped off. Some of them are leaning over. And I was just like, okay, well, there goes that work. Nice, more popsicles. Wait, what? What are you talking about, Cece? High 40s, low 50s. Jesus Christ. Yeah, so okay. I mean, no, that's nighttime. That's not that bad, but the 40s definitely will do it. It will slow down the show. That's for sure. Gina, those are your daytime temps in the 50s. But yeah, so I was just saying to like that's kind of where I stand, like why I chose the channel name, because I think it all boils down to mindset for me and where I am in my little gardening journey. So if you were ever wondering um, why I say not quite homesteading, I said I don't know what I'll do when I feel like I've gotten to the place where I would consider myself homesteading. Maybe now I'm homesteading. I don't know. But I think the biggest thing for me is about embracing everything that comes along with this lifestyle without thinking about backing out of it 3 times a day if I see something that I don't like. Okay. Gotcha. So, what's on the docket for May, y'all? Like, I know some people are still waiting to plant. I think I'm pretty much done planting like vegetables for now. I still have fruit trees that I'm trying to like size up so they're not in like their permanent places, but they're out and about. I was like, the last things I put in the soil yesterday were my chamomile, lavender, and echinacea, and those have been cold stratifying for like a good month and a half now. So I'm hoping that they don't have any issues coming up. Thank you, Cece. See you later. So Gina and Gleesy, we were talking about just kind of mindset around, like considering yourself gardening or a gardener versus like homesteading versus farming. Um, Anything y'all want to chime in on with that? Like, what do you think? I don't know, differentiates the three, if at all. I feel like that's what I've come to like know homesteading as too. And I say mainly it's not so much just the canning and preserving, because like, we preserve food on a regular basis even if we're not gardening, but I think animals, like the rearing of like animals, that kind of is like that transitional step into like creating like an actual homestead. But yeah, that kind of lifestyle of like constantly canning, constantly preserving, raising animals, because it's really like it is a lifestyle. Like it's a full-time commitment to do that. Oh, honestly, I just need to drop my cucumber and melon seeds. I'm waiting for the temps to get a little warmer. Everything else all planted. Okay. Accomplishments. Love it. I need to reseed my melons too. The melons did not take well to transplanting, and I really think that more so has to do with the fact that they came out so quickly. I think they sat around too long. I'm having trouble with my cucumber seeds though germinating, which is out of all I planted probably about 20 cucumber seeds at this point, and only one germinated. So I'm gonna have to revisit where I got these seeds from. Gina said gardening to me is growing food on a low scale, homesteading larger scale with some livestock, and farming is large scale with livestock. Okay. I think that's a good breakdown too. Why won't he let you get chickens? Well, before even he, like, what are your county like regulations around chickens? Have you guys done that research already? But why doesn't he want you to get chickens? Yeah. So I feel the same way, Gina. Because I'm like, I've been preserving food a long time, long before I started like putting anything in the ground. I was like, I never really did like long term canning, but quick canning, jams, that kind of stuff. Like I've always done those things. but I still see myself as a gardener. Thank you, Awanda. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's like strange because one of the seeds I was trying to do like the salt and peppering, yes. The salt and pepper pickling cucumber. And everybody's like talking about like all these good things about this cucumber, and I cannot get a seed from that pack to germinate to save my life. And the crazy thing is like I got those from Johnny's, and their seeds usually are really, really good. So I was like, the first time I was like, well, maybe it was too cold, but I planted them again. Nothing happens. So I just did a third round in the newer bed, and I planted like 5 seeds of each of the cucumbers that I put in that bed, and I'm just waiting to see actually how many come up. Said I can have 6, no rooster though. He is anti animals because he says will work for him, which it usually is. But yeah, because men get to do all the stuff we don't want to do. My husband knows; he can attest. Lisa said she never did canner and she plans to this year. Yeah, the canner is on my list. I was like, I'm taking a break from building beds probably until the fall. And then I was like, well, focus on getting the preservation materials. Like I have to get an electric canner. So I was like, I don't have gas stove and you can't do regular canning on an electric stove. So I said I will be looking to get my canner, my dehydrator, and my vacuum sealer pretty soon. Because I was like, I tried the old school way, so I had to take my green onions out of a pot because the pot broke. I've been dehydrating since yesterday afternoon, and them onions still aren't dry. I said, I don't know if I'm ready for the cleanup that comes with like chickens either. And a lot of people say it's actually pretty easy. It's not as bad as it might look, but that's the thing that part of it that deters me from like chickens. We can't have them here. You know, property owner association guidelines, but I just don't know that I want them in this space and without having somebody else to help care for them. You said so they should embrace it. I'm just saying, listen here, you gotta either embrace it or you ain't gonna eat. Has he bought eggs recently? Do he know how much eggs cost? Who told you that I pressure can on my electric stove? It's actually nobody told me that. That was what I read because when I was like doing my research, and I mean, I'm gonna go with this because I am like big on food safety. So one of the issues is that on an electric stove, most of the pots they don't make full contact, so you run the risk of not reaching the temperature that you're supposed to reach in order for the canning process to happen effectively. I've had some really traumatic things happen around food safety, so that's just not something I'm willing to play around with. Girl, send him to get them eggs. He'll be asking for chickens. Mm-hmm. I'm like, can you go get me like 3 cartons of eggs, please? And I would send him to get the expensive ones that I don't even typically buy. Go get some eggs. He'll come back like, since when are eggs this much money? Yeah, uh-huh. Chickens sounding real good, aren't they? But yeah, so it is something that is available like online. It'll tell you like in any canning book. It'll also I forget. I do a lot of my research. Yes, I visit the almanac, but I also kind of go to the like local university agricultural pages. So I didn't pull this off of somebody's blog, but you know, I will say without saying I guess a whole lot and not trying to go downhill, but my mother was a victim of food poisoning. I have a pretty I've spent a pretty lengthy amount of time in food and beverage. I've taken a lot of like hygiene, health and hygiene training, and yeah, if something says it should not be when it comes to food, I'm not pushing the envelope because I've seen the worst of the worst effects that can have. So, do you follow TT's Urban Pantry? She's certified and took a Canon preservation for safety. Is the only goal we can live on her channel almost every Saturday night. Oh, we go live. Okay. Yeah. No, I haven't. Yeah, but I'm food safety certified as well. Like I've actually which is a part of my whole like food dreams, but I've actually had the opportunity to kind of like run a kitchen of my own as well, and where I've like served the public food too. But I will say throughout all the things I've done, because I've done them at like a management level, I've had to have like all of those certifications and seeing firsthand the effects of one thing gone wrong. I'm just not willing to take the chance. So I said, I will get the electric pressure canner, but I'll definitely check out her channel, TT's Urban Pantry. But I was like, I don't know. I don't have anything else. I was like, we kind of got off talking about, I answered some questions that, some people had left me and that they asked throughout the chat. It's like, I don't know if there are any questions that y'all might have for me. I was like, I know it's Friday. A lot of people like to do lives on Fridays. So, trying to be mindful and sharing the space. Because I'm sure we'll all end up on another live together tonight. Gina, you doing your Frugal Friday today? I think I saw something for that, right? I don't know who's still on and who's not. I know it says 5 people on here. I was trying to give like a chance for anybody to answer questions that I asked, but I'm gonna go ahead and call it a wrap. I was like, I appreciate y'all for stopping in. I was like, my next live, which I'll announce it again. I want to kind of do like some kind of maybe I don't know cocktails or be afternoon garden to table. Come with your garden to table snack or something, but I'll put it out there. And 500 500 sub seed share giveaway. If you guys know anybody, if you feel inclined to share the videos or share the channel page, I would appreciate it. We are so close to 500 subs, and I want to be able to sow into somebody else's gardening experience. So, yeah, help me get to 500, please, so then we can focus on getting to 1,000. But I appreciate y'all, especially people that have been here from the beginning, because I know it's not always easy when you're first starting for people to really buy into what you're doing. So thank you guys. All right. So Gina, I'll be stopping in your chat at 6. And I'll see y'all next month. Bye. You too, Gleesy.